Okay, part two because it cut off. I don't know how much time I have, but I want to make this. I want to come to the point now because I don't want to cutting it off. So anyway, um, I also saw eagles. We saw bald eagles circling around there, and they must have been looking for little animals on the ground. And suddenly, out of nowhere, from the other end of that lake bed, hundreds of miles away, suddenly there was an entire fleet of trucks and vans coming up, making dust. And believe it or not, it looked like it looked like one of the trucks. I don't know whether it was a truck or a jeep or something. It looked like that paparazzi guy of Britney Spears coming up with exactly the same big dildo type of microphone sticking way out there. And I don't think it's the same guy, it's not the same truck, but it's the same type of paparazzi equipment. And he had that like outside on kind of like sort of on top of that Jeep so that he could record the sounds. So, and they were coming after the bald eagles. The bald eagle paparazzis were coming, and and they were driving past us, and and they were crazy about the bald eagles, and they were coming just in time to get to that place at the end of that crossroads where the eagle was circling above those ponds. And and as they got to the crossroads, the eagle didn't like them. So the eagle came over to us and circled above our van. And because I saw the shadow of the eagle, real big shadow with huge wingspan, like a person, circling like a kite over our van, over that entire area where they discarded some agricultural equipment. And I saw that shadow, that big shadow going in circles. That was something else to see that eagle. Wonderful, absolutely amazing. So that was quite exciting. So then that's the synchronicity was the video I had made before we went on that trip. So then after that we went over to a pond, and that was also very funny. I had this very bright orange, kind of like a construction worker orange type of hat on, and it was very nice the way the sun was shining on it. It gave this orange glow and it felt really good. And I had my aqua shirt on, and I went into this pond like an alkaline pond, very, very large, but it was only like a foot and a half deep. And wonderful, I love that. And it was very muddy, that's why I didn't take the papa dog in there. He would have come out really, really muddy and we didn't have a way to wash him off. But I went in there and it felt really good. I scratched up my feet a little bit on those lava rocks. There were a lot of lava rocks. That entire area had volcanic activity a long time ago, and a lot of lava particles and blocks that come down, and they stayed right there, and it looked very extraterrestrial. And so I went into this extraterrestrial milky, like milk pond, and I was putting my head under the water. It felt really, really, really good. I put the mud on my face and my body. And as I was sitting there in that milky pond, which is right next to this highway, some semi trucks with cargo loads were coming by, driving by, and I saw these truck drivers. They were like looking like this as they were driving by, like, what is she doing in there? Did she fall off that power line or something? I wonder what they were thinking. So that was kind of funny how they were looking. How I was splashing in that pond. It was so much fun. And then after that we left and we went back to the big city, congested, everything, very stressful. The next night was not good. Very stressful. I had a nervous breakdown. Another one of those moments of shamanic endurance and going through without escape. It was very hard. Paul and I fought. I had a nervous breakdown. I couldn't take it. Couldn't sleep. I was terrified where we were. Semi trucks around us. Very scary. The next day we went to a forest campground in the middle of a forest on the peak of a mountain. And there I felt good, and we stayed there all day long. We took naps, went to bed early, went to sleep. And then we went back home after that. So that was our trip. Quite a trip. But I learned how to make the trip better. Try and error. I learned how to improve myself mentally. I learned how to accept where I am at in my own personal mental development instead of being in resistance against it and trying to be somewhere else where I'm not yet. So I am where I am. Okay. I have anger issues. I get upset. I start fighting with Paul. All of this is wrong. Severe anxiety, OCD, all of this, this is where I'm at, and I am accepting where I'm at. And I think that's good. I don't know when it's going to cut off. It's good to do. It's good to accept where we are instead of trying to be somewhere where we are not yet, or instead of trying to force ourselves to be at a place where we are not yet. Okay, there's no rush to get from A to Z or beyond. There's no ending in learning and improving. We are where we are in our soul development and our personal 3D development and learning, and it is okay where we are. When we make mistakes and we have acted wrong, we become aware and we see this was wrong. I'm not going to make that mistake again. I might make another mistake, but not this mistake again. I will protect myself from making that mistake again. I will do whatever I can to create a situation where this mistake cannot occur again. Okay, so that's how we have to proceed. As Tony Robbins always said, we have to make sure that we do not allow our bodies and nervous systems to get into a state of overwhelm. Cannot allow ourselves to get overwhelmed. I am too sensitive to stay at a truck stop or at a parking lot. I cannot do it. I have too much fear. I have too much OCD. I can't stand cigarette particles and cigarette butts and party remains and dirty dysfunctional trash and stuff like this. I cannot stand it. To me, that's nightmarish. Okay? I cannot stand it. I can't stand tattoos, loud music, trashy voice, trashy ways of people communicating with each other, disrespectful tones. I can't stand it. It's not for me. It's not because I'm putting myself above anyone. It's just that I cannot stand it. I'm just not cut out for it. I'm way too sensitive for that. Way too sensitive. I'm not hardy like other people. I'm like a princess on the pea, sort of. But it's not that I find this particularly alluring to be like that, to be sensitive. I felt ashamed about it as a child, to be that sensitive. I wanted to be like others. I want to be robust, but I'm not, okay? I just have to come to terms with it, that I am not robust. I'm very sensitive. I get overwhelmed, I cry very easily, I get angry, I get scared, and that's where I am. Okay. And it's not good and it's not bad. It's beyond good and bad. It is just what it is, and it's hard, very hard, very difficult to be like this and be in a rough world, be thrown into a rough world. It's very hard. It's an imposition. It's a punishment for someone with that nervous system to have to exist in such a harsh and unforgiving world, in such a brutal world. We can make the world better. We can make it more pleasant. But it takes every person to help. I do my part. I want other people to do their part as well. Do your part. Do what you can to make the world better. For those people that have a lot of shame about the way they are, become better. It's up to you. You know, someone who is brutal, become better, become less brutal. Then things will be better. Okay, you guys take care.